live. Another big story we've been telling you all morning about Kobe Bryant's death. The Laker and his daughter among those killed in a Calabasas helicopter crash yesterday.
Yeah, so joining us to discuss this tragedy is Daily National sports editor Mike Bako. Thanks for being with us today. I know that you've interviewed Kobe yourself, but just take us back. We talk about his legacy. I mean, this is a guy who was just 17 years old when he got drafted. His parents had to sign it for him. He went on to earned so many awards, 81 points in a single game. Help us wrap our heads around what he has done for the sport.
You really can't wrap your head around what he's done. That's really the true legacy of Kobe Bryant. You mentioned the 81 points. Being at Madison Square Garden last night, watching the game and covering the game, he had a 61-point game at Madison Square Garden. For an opposing player to have his name chanted from the rafters as he's playing against the Knicks, that's a true testament to how great he was, to his legacy, to his enduring legacy. Certainly looking around Madison Square Garden last night, seeing number 8s and number 24 Kobe Bryant jerseys, it's a legacy that will be hard to match.
Right.
And you think about the sadness of what he could have done with the next 40 years
with women's
of his
basketball
life or so.
with his daughter.
Because you think about it, you think about the greatest of all time players, right? And there was certainly a number of them, but Kobe transcended more than just basketball, and he was really a family man as well. I mean, he loved his family. Talk about that some.
He loved his family. He certainly had a past that he'd overcome, certainly some issues that had gone on with the Colorado trial and whatnot, but he really had turned the corner with his life, and it seemed like he had dedicated himself to refurbishing that image and certainly being a family man. Certainly you just saw what was going on with his daughter, and he had opened up something called the Mamba Academy, where he was teaching the youth basketball and the right way to play. You talk about the greatest players of all time. That's a discussion for another day, but in terms of legacy, there are guys like Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan who will live on their basketball accolades, but if you look at the current landscape of NBA players, virtually there is no player in the league that did not either grow up knowing the NBA just with him playing or played against him. That is a legacy. That's why it's hitting so hard right now.
Well, and I think, too, when you think about it, he's only played with the Lakers. Very few professional sports players could say, I was only with one team for my entire career, 2 decades, 20 years, right? Let's talk about his commute, because a lot of people think about, wow, you got in a helicopter just to go to a game. But that was something that was normal for him, correct?
So he did that. He lived in Calabasas, so he took that copter, not that exact one, but during his playing days, he did that for practice. He wanted to be at home and he wanted to be with his family, but also it allowed him, certain freedoms to build his post-playing career. There were times where, he had been interviewed and we had talked about what he wanted to do post-playing career. This is something that he started formulating in year 10, 11, 12. He kind of had that plan and he used that helicopter ride in a lot of cases to work on his post-playing career, also to do scouting and prepare for the games. But this is something that he had done for many, many years. It was kind of a way of life for him almost.
Yeah, that's something the NTSB is going to investigate now to try to figure out what exactly happened here. But, you're bringing up a fact that so many of the NBA players grew up watching him. The youth of today looked at him as an inspiration to what they want to do when they grow up. Seeing him make it at such a young age, being the youngest player of all time. I mean, what do you think happens next for the future generations of the NBA?
Well, it'll be hard-pressed to match what that legacy is going to be. Certainly the same way that players now grow up watching videos of Michael Jordan and Larry Bird, he'll be in that pantheon. But I think the legacy that he leaves behind is to improve your skills year after year and to come back. One of the great things about Kobe, whether you loved him as a fan or hated him if you were on the opposing team, each year he came back with a new element to his game. He was always learning, always trying to be better. At certain points in the league, he was the best player in the league. When he went back in his offseason, he came back with a new move, a new shot, a new way of playing. So the legacy is really improve your game, improve yourself.
And he loved being a teacher.
And he loved being a teacher.
What was it, just last week, that video went viral of him with his daughter at a game.
Talking about the games. And he did this great series on ESPN Plus called Detail, where he would take the most mundane play in a certain game, and he could do a 5 to 8 minute video dissecting it just on a random pick and roll play, and he'd tell you what every single player is doing. And that's really the legacy, is how he thought the game. He had amazing next-level, all-time skills, but he also thought the game.
And it wasn't just on the court, it was off the court. You've interviewed him, and you even said yourself that he was someone, when you asked him a question, he was very thoughtful about his answers. So thank you for sharing some of that with us.
We'll see you again at 8:30 talking more about this.
All right, still to come on the PIX 11 Morning News, the Staples